Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the busters, but everybody else in between. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. Let's do this thing President's Day style. We've got a couple of college basketball games going on. We had a full slate of hockey across the National Hockey League today. A wild day on the ice. The National Basketball Association, the fallout continues from the NBA All-Star game that saw them take like 168 three-point shots and saw the East roll the West in the highest scoring All-Star game of all time. Let's start off there, in which I'm not nearly as upset as others about the sanctity of the NBA All-Star game. I'm just upset at myself for not hammering the over. I did hammer the over, but I also hammered the West. I could have just crushed it. We all could have just crushed it. It reminds me of the Pro Bowl before they stopped it, in which it was just out of control, right? Like the Pro Bowl, they would set the totals at like 63, 65 and stuff like that. And we were getting into the 90s, if not the hundreds. And I was enjoying it. Like I would bet more on the Pro Bowl than I did the Super Bowl. They'd have the Pro Bowl the week before the Super Bowl. I was betting like a lot on the Pro Bowls because I was like, man, they're going to score like 90 points in this game. And they were. Except the NFL got upset because one year they took it too far and they were running reverses and like crazy trick plays. And I didn't have a problem with it. The players want to have fun, fine. I get that people want to see somewhat of a competition, but it's hard. It's just one of those things. It is what it is. There's no real solution to it. We're not going to cancel the All-Star game. The NBA All-Star weekend generates tons of revenue, all right? And the ratings were generally, like, for the entire weekend, they do get good numbers, although this game turned people off. Shout out to everyone joining us on SiriusXM Channel 159. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Iowa State and Houston are in action, if you want to call it action. College basketball is terrible, man. It's just bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you watch these games, it's just brick central, brick city. I get it. Teams are playing defense, but, they can't shoot. Like, how many good college basketball teams are there? Like 4, 5, like a handful? Like, very, very few. I wonder about Houston, too. Houston are good. We'll get into it tonight. Houston are good, but I don't know if they're good enough offensively. They're going to get, they get these games where they don't score enough. They can't shoot. They can't score. Iowa State is lingering right now, despite the fact that they've tossed enough bricks to build a new basketball arena. It's 28-23 right now, late in the first half. Texas are in action against Kansas State. We got a pretty close one going on here, too. We got a 5-point game at the half. This game is seriously trending to the under. I thought it would be higher scoring. 27-22 at the half for the Longhorns. They're laying 9.5 right now at the half. The in-game number, halftime number is 121.5 in this game. The total in the Houston-Iowa State game is 120.5 right now as we were into the final seconds going into the locker rooms here right now. We got a 5-point game. The Houston Cougars are up, so sort of right in the middle, both these games, right? The point spread was like 8.5. I thought Texas were laying too many points, but I also thought they were going to win the game. I also thought that Houston were kind of laying too many points, but I thought Houston were going to win the game. I thought both these games would be a little bit higher scoring than they are right now. The Houston game could potentially still go over the number. The Texas game won't unless it goes to overtime. So we're going into the break here. 28-23 for the Houston Cougars. They're laying 9.5, up 5, and the total is 120.5. It closed. I got it at like 131 or something like that earlier in the day, 130.5, whatever it was. It ended up closing at like 132.5, 133. It could still get there if there's some early points in the second half. And we get some fouls and stuff. It's a pretty physical game. They don't really call a ton of fouls. Like, you've got to really get murdered in this conference for them to call a foul in the Big 12. So we've got, it's a physical basketball game. We'll keep our eye on this. I'm on a moneyline parlay on the way out here tonight. Not a ton of action going on. We've got Houston, we've got Texas, and we've got College of Charleston. But I thought the William and Mary could cover the number at 17.5 or 16.5, 17. They're down right now by 8 with 3 minutes left. Charleston is up 55-47, so we might be able to hit both sides of this game. There's no NHL hockey left tonight, but we'll take a look at the full slate of action that's going on Tuesday. We'll get you caught up to date. Last week, we went over the division odds and the futures and stuff. Well, we'll start to check in on a weekly basis now. I want to get an update and look at the updated numbers. The Vancouver Canucks have now lost 2 hockey games in a row. They lost on Saturday night to the Winnipeg Jets, and they somehow lost today despite scoring 7 goals. And in fact, the Vancouver Canucks are only the 88th team in NHL history. All right, it only happened 87 times before today in NHL history that a team scored 7 goals in a game and lost. So welcome to the club, Vancouver. The Minnesota Wild beat the Vancouver Canucks today 10-7. There were 9 goals in the third period. 3 different players scored hat tricks. 3 different players. 2 on the Wild, 1 on the Canucks. 3 different players. Who was it? It was Eriksson, JT Miller, and another. It was a Swedish festival. Swedish festival today. First game is the first NHL game where both teams scored 7+ goals on fewer than 30 shots on goal since 1988. That was another thing too. Like they kept, like Vancouver kept scoring despite they were getting dominated early. It's the first NHL game to feature 3 players with a hat trick since November the 8th, 1992, when Jari Kurri, Luc Robitaille, and Mike Donnelly all scored in an 11-4 Kings win over the Sharks. So like I said, a lot of history was made today. So JT Miller got the hat trick, but so what? Wild stuff. The overs were cashing. NHL hockey, very entertaining today. And we'll get into this. Joe Madden's going to step up and join us. We got George Kurtz and we got Cam Stewart. We got Mo Khan at the back end, but we got a lot of hockey. Yeah, a lot of people have bet on hockey on the show tonight. And like the Calgary Flames were down by multiple goals. It's the 12th time this year that the Calgary Flames have won a game when they were trailing by 2 or more. Think about like that from an odds perspective. Like the Minnesota Wild were down by 2 goals today. They were down by 3 goals actually today at one point, and they came back and won. Like teams like, the Edmonton Oilers and the Coyote game went back and forth. The NHL really, you could argue, really is the best sport for in-game betting where you could pull the trigger on both teams. We'll get you the updated numbers, but remember last year I talked about it a lot in which like 45% of teams that won an NHL game were trailing at some point in the game, and it was like nearly 30% of the wins in the NHL were teams that were trailing by 2 or more at some point in the game. The dreaded 2-goal lead, man, in the NHL is real. This is Sports Rage. Bring it. I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game to take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game? His name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pops looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Monday Night Meltdown. SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. Let's do this thing. We got a full house on the program tonight. It's a college basketball night tonight. Doubleheader in the Big 12. Both very low-scoring basketball games. Texas is now leading 29-24. The second half has started. They're a couple of minutes in. So Texas are up 5 right now. They're laying 9.5. The in-game total is 115.5. It closed at 140. And Houston and Iowa State are at the half. It's 28-23 for the Houston Cougars. This is the one that can still get there as far as the total is concerned. The in-game total here is 122.5. All it'll take is a couple of early shots in the second half. This game, things opened up after the first 12 minutes. It took a little while. Like, Iowa State had like 4 points, like 8 minutes into the game, 10 minutes into the game. They were stuck at 4. They started to hit a couple of threes near the end of the half. Houston get to the free throw line a lot. It's a very physical game. I would expect both teams to end up in a bonus pretty quickly here in the second half. So I think we're going to get there to the over 122.5. I don't know about getting the original total of this game. And Houston and K-State's just dead as far as the total unless this game goes to overtime. But we've got breaking news from the National Football League. And in a modern era, you've got to follow social media and players on social media to get a feel of what's going on. You can't count on the media. You got to count on the players themselves. And I think this is pretty telling right now that Justin Fields has just unfollowed the Chicago Bears on his social media accounts, which leads a lot of people to believe that Justin Fields is aware that he will not be on the Chicago Bears. And, in fact, we've got odds for where he's going to be. Cam Stewart steps up and in. And, Cam, I told you guys last week that they're going to trade Justin Fields, and they will take Caleb Williams. And Justin Fields believes this as well now. There are more and more rumors as far as teams that are interested in Justin Fields. And as expected, there's more than a few. And we don't even really know who's really interested. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of them. And I've been talking about this for years. And, in fact, I brought it up in the damn draft when he came in. I was like, I don't know why you guys just don't draft this kid. He's freaking from your hometown. Your Matt Ryan dude was in his last year. The Falcons could have drafted Justin Fields, had him play behind Matt Ryan for a year, and then had to transition. Now this is their second crack, an opportunity to get him. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I think it would be a good move if you were the Atlanta Falcons
I agree, Gabe. I think it'd be a great move. Think about the young players on the team. Bijan Robinson, you got a running game. Drake London, an improving team. I think he's perfect. And on carpet. What is Justin Fields' strength? Running the football. And on that fast surface, man, he's going to be absolutely blazing out there. You know about Chicago, Morency. That grass is long and stuff, and Fields is still outrunning guys there. That's a thick grass. I'd rather play on the carpet in Atlanta. I like where you're going with that. I think it's a perfect fit for the Falcons, and you're right. They should have done something instead of drafted Ritter and trying their luck with Heineke and all these other guys. I think Fields would have been a nice player for them in Atlanta, and I think he's a perfect fit for that football team if he ended up going there. But you're right about Pittsburgh, too, and Pickett. You talked about Coach Tomlin. He's a big fan of Justin Fields.
Well, that's what the reports are, that he likes Fields. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorites right now to land Justin Fields at plus 150. So the question is, what team will Justin Fields be on next year in September? So when the season starts, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorites right now. But this is why I love these bets, Cam. Same thing with the draft. They don't know, bro. Like the odds makers have no idea. Right? And they're not worried about it. This is casual stuff that a few people are betting, right? It's not a large market, so they're not worried about getting crushed on this or anything. But they're at the mercy of reports. And like you said, there's all these reports that Mike Tomlin likes Justin Fields, but there's also reports that people are following this, that the Steelers internally are split on the quarterback situation. Don't forget, they just drafted Kenny Pickett. So there's some within there, and I think it's the ownership group, that are thinking, you know what? He's only been in the league 2 years, and he got hurt. Like, do we really know if he sucks? And I think there's others that are like, listen, we know he's not good enough. Does he suck? Maybe not, but he's not good enough to keep up with Joe Burrow. He's not good enough to keep up. Look at the quarterbacks that you have in that. You got Deshaun Watson. You got Joe Burrow. Right, you've got Lamar Jackson, right? You've got big-time quarterbacks there. Is Kenny Pickett really your guy to take you to the next level? But for me, I haven't seen the Pittsburgh Steelers, Cam, in my lifetime ever do something like this. This isn't what they do. They don't trade a bunch of picks and all this. Now, the question is, what can you get? Like I said last week, too, like I think it was Kurtz. We'll talk about this with Kurtz again. Well, like they're not getting a first rounder even.
No.
Like there were reports that there was an offer, a second round pick, the Steelers' second round pick and fourth round pick. So if that's what it's going to be, then there'll be more teams that'll be interested, knowing that, hey, we don't really have to give up that much to get this guy. You will have to pay him though after. So you're going to have to pay him like a big time quarterback after the fact. The Pittsburgh Steelers are plus 150. The Chicago Bears are plus 250. I don't think he's going to be on the Bears.
No.
The Atlanta Falcons are plus 350. That's the one that makes the most sense, but they've been resistant to this as well, to pay a quarterback for whatever reason. They didn't go after Lamar Jackson. They took Desmond Ridder. Like, they've never shown a desire for whatever reason since Matt Ryan's been gone to really get a real quarterback there. The New England Patriots, Cam, are plus 600, but the Patriots have the third overall pick in the draft. There's no need for them to go after Justin Fields when they can get Jaden Daniels, right? Or they can get Drake May. They're going to be able to get a big-time quarterback on a rookie deal. So I wouldn't look for the Patriots to pull the trigger. The Broncos are looking for a quarterback, but don't forget, the Broncos traded a lot, and they gave up a lot to get Russell Wilson. They don't have the draft capital. They could pull it off, I guess, but like they're running out of draft picks, this team. Like, and their depth sucks. Their defense sucks. Like, Denver have a lot of problems. So, like, Denver need the picks. So I could see Denver, like J.J. McCarthy going to Denver with the 12th pick if he's still there. Then you get the Raiders at 12-1. I think that's something to keep your eye on, guys. The Raiders have money, right? The Raiders have $50 million now under the cap. Like, with Garoppolo going to get cut.
Yep.
The Raiders have money. They need a quarterback. The question is, do they think that Justin Fields is the guy to become their franchise quarterback? I don't know. I would probably say no. But they're 12-1. The Commanders are 14-1. I don't see the Commanders doing it because they've got the second pick in the draft. Like, they really are in control of this thing after Caleb Williams And we talk about it, rookie deal. They can get a star quarterback on a rookie deal as opposed to having to pay Justin Fields $45-50 million a year. Same thing with the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are going to lock themselves up to some big deal. Seattle Seahawks are 30-1. They just told Geno Smith he's coming back. They're on the hook. They just paid him an extra $13 million bonus last week. I don't think Justin Fields can with Seattle. Then you get Tampa, Carolina, the Giants, and the Titans. So really, guys, from a betting perspective, I would say the Atlanta Falcons at plus 350. And for the hell of it, let's roll the dice on the Raiders at 12-1. And maybe the Raiders surprise everybody and pull the trigger.
You know what? That's a really good price. And I would have to agree with you. I think who knows what the Raiders are going to do. Gabe, the question I have is in the draft, looking at all these teams, what are the Giants going to do? They're kind of in an interesting position.
They're not going to take a quarterback. I know a lot of mocks have them taking a QB. They're on the hook for Daniel Jones, bro. They just paid Daniel Jones big money.
They owe money.
And they have to pay him this year. So, like, Daniel Jones is back this year. Like, point blank, he's back. They're not just going to eat $57 million or whatever the hell it is. They're not drafting a quarterback, the Giants. I'm not sure that they love him.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pops looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
These college basketball games suck so hard. I'd rather talk about NFL football and where players are going to be playing in 2024. Although, listen, this Houston-Iowa State game is pretty competitive. It's good. It's a battle. That's what Houston does. I wonder if Houston have the offense to actually win a national championship. They're turning into one of these teams, man. They're like Gonzaga now. They don't have like the choke. They don't have like the choker loser reputation and vibe around them yet. But to me, they're starting to a little bit. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, I know you're good in the regular season. Are you going to win the national championship ever, right? It's one of those type of deals. Playing in the Big 12 is going to help them, though, I think. Toughen them up, play a tougher schedule, and you see they're a dominant team. Like, I want to buy into this Houston team, that they can win it all. UConn, I think, is a team to beat, but Purdue and Houston are right there. Let's bring in Joe Madden in the house right now. Joe, good to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm with you with Houston. I love what we're seeing out of their defense. So I need this game to slow down a little bit because I did take the under. So keeping my fingers crossed in this one.
I can't imagine the frustration of playing them. Like, I know the frustration. Like, when someone's just better than you defensively and they're in your face all the time, like, they really are relentless. Like, they don't let up defensively, man. They're constantly just on you. And then you just start taking bad shots. You see it. Iowa State are doing a pretty good job of trying to fight through it and stuff. Fran Fraschilla keeps saying that you got to pound the paint with Houston. It's the only thing you can do with them because you're not going to beat them on the perimeter. And Fraschilla, like, they just turned it over again. Like, man, they're just relentless on defense. But you get into the NCAA tournament, and one team starts hitting a couple of threes, Cam, and you're one of these teams. It's like Virginia tonight. Like, Virginia scored like 38 points or something. It's like, okay, guys, you stop teams, but, like, you have these games every 4 or 5 nights where you don't score, and you can't win like that.
You're right. You bring up a good point. Remember, Gabe, Rutgers wasn't even at their best, and they're like up on Houston. The thing is, you can slow teams down, but you're going to run into a team that shoots, and you have to continually win, and we'll see. Their offense needs to be a little bit better. I agree. Their defense is suffocating, but you need to do it all in the NCAA tournament. And with the money, the value that you have on Houston, they can run into a roadblock. I want to buy in, but I just think UConn's a better team. That's my opinion. I got futures on UConn.
They are better.
Yeah,
like if Houston plays UConn, like, you'll notice, Joe, when you watch Iowa State here, all right, the kid just took the shot and it went in. But you'll notice they hesitate. Like, it'll be open, the three will be open, and they're like, they don't take it right away, and then Houston cover it up. Teams like UConn won't hesitate, right? They won't be as, like, thrown off by, oh, you guys are playing D, good for you. So what? We're not going to be thrown off by this. But this game's starting to pick up a little bit right now, 40-32. For Houston, but Houston are damn good. But wild day today in the National Hockey League. I brought up some of the numbers earlier. So the Vancouver Canuck and the Minnesota Wild game, I got to say, I think that was probably the worst loss of the year for the Vancouver Canucks today. Like, I don't know, like, what the hell happened? The wheels just fell off, carelessness. You know, you blew a 3-goal lead coming off a loss. They've been so good after losing games, going on another 4 or 5 game win streak after. They lost to Winnipeg, even though they played well. They ran into a hot goalie in Hellebuck. Today, though, was just crazy, but historic game, guys, today. How about this? All these records that were broken. So we had 3. It was the first game to feature 3 players with a hat trick since November the 8th, 1992, when Yari Curry, Luc Robitaille, and Mike Donnelly all scored 3 goals for the Kings in an 11-4 win. Gord Donnelly was my coach.
Oh, wow.
His brother. The Donnelly brothers? Yeah, there's the Donnelly brothers, Joe. They played in the NHL. None of them were stars or stuff, but I think he's one of them. Yeah, Gord Donnelly was my hockey coach for a couple of years. Cool dude. He used to, like, buy beer for us if we won.
I like
He'd say, listen, he said, if we win the game, guys, I'm going to buy 2 cases of beer and we'll go to my house after and we'll drink safely.
Cool coach.
I was like 15, Cam. Like, today, that was, you can't do that. Like,
you do that.
Those days, it was like typical. Like, yeah.
Who's there? Cops. Hey, right.
Yeah, it wasn't like Dairy Queen, Joe. Oh, we'll get pizza after the game. Our guy, he knew how to reach us. He said, guys, I bought 224 cases. Like, it was like 4 beers each. Like, so, and for us, And he thought, like, he was like, I'd rather you guys, I know what you're going to do anyways after the game. It was one of those things. So I'd rather you just sort of, do it safely, come to my house. And, thing is, for us, though, it was just the start of the night, Cam. It was like, we're going to Coach's house. And then we'd start popping acid. We'd leave after.
The coach basically got you started. Pregame. And
he's like, all right, you're all going home now. We're like, yeah, coach, we're all going home. Yeah, that's it.
We'd go to the park.
We'd have our eye we'd have our eye on the clock because they stopped selling beer at 11 o'clock at the store. So we'd be like, all right, coach, I think it's time to go now. We'd all leave. We got to go to the store, man.
Joe's right. Underage hockey and underage drinking and hockey went hand in hand. I told you, Gabe, we played a tournament. But that's why we're all alcoholics. Like, let's just be real. It's a culture of alcohol, right? We start early. I told you, we played a team from Calgary, Joe, and these guys were partying with them. Their coach was like a born-again Christian. He sent them all home without money. He goes, and we won the tournament. They forfeited because we got wasted with them. Our coach is like, excellent. We win.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, so... Yari Curry, Luke Robitaille, Mike Donnelly all scored 3 goals for the Kings in 1992. So there were 3 guys with hat tricks today. And this was also the first game where both teams scored 7+ goals on fewer than 30 shots on goal since 1988. It was just a goal fest. But I brought it up, Joe, today. And it's not just today. The NHL, it's the craziest league for in-game betting with comebacks. Like 2-goal leads, mean nothing in the NHL in today's day and age. They really don't. And you see multiple games today, teams were down and they came back and won. And or they flip-flop, they came back and down, and you can get both teams at crazy plus prices. Yep. And your Calgary Flames have now won, and the Flames have been struggling to get back home. I was like, oh boy, what a train wreck. They're about to lose again to the Jets. They're down 3-1. And they come back and win. And how about this? The Flames have won an NHL best this year, 12 games when trailing by 2 or more goals this year. Think about the odds for that you get paid.
Oh, exactly. You're going to get like plus 240, plus 300 sitting there on the money line for the Calgary to come back.
Even more.
They've been phenomenal at doing that. They either get off to really hot starts and then end up failing in that third period and having other teams come back on them, or they do that. They go down in that first period and then find a way back. So I love what we saw out of Calgary tonight. I think it was a bad spot for the Winnipeg Jets too with their schedule tomorrow. So I think they were kind of looking ahead to the divisional matchup on schedule for them tomorrow. But I'm happy Calgary was able to get the win.
To your guys' point, look at the Ducks were down against the Sabres. They end up winning. Stars were down to Boston. They end up winning. Canucks and Wild, that's a comeback. Wild win by 3. Jets and Flames. You said it, Morency. It's like this sport is just a live betting gold mine. It's an absolute gold mine. You take a team that's down. It's crazy. And
I'd say the two, listen, MMA is good as well. You've got to watch it. And the thing with MMA, though, you got to really know it, kind of. Like, you've got to understand the judging and stuff. But, like, they get it wrong all the time. Like they really do. Like, it's crazy. Like it's hard for the odds makers. It's hard for the sports books to do live in-game MMA because there's no algorithm for it. It's not a computer. Like NBA, NHL, it's just a computer program. And it's just the number. Like it's not even human. It's just a computer resetting the number all the time. And there's a human sort of watching. But like MMA, you can't do that. Like you have to have a human on it. And a lot of these books, man, they kind of just go by the broadcast of Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is like extremely biased all the time. Like Rogan gets locked in all the time on one fighter that he likes, that he's buddies with, that goes on his show or something. And like if Rogan was a judge, like I know we have a lot of Rogan fans, whatever. I'm not, God bless him, whatever, man. I'm just saying for his MMA analysis is kind of off. And you can capitalize on this with the odds makers, and same with boxing. Like you watch these fights, it's like, are you guys watching the same fight that we're watching? But the only problem with that is fighting is still kind of like shady, or I'm not going to say corrupt, but you don't really know, right, what these judges are going to do. Like you can kind of think, and you got to know who the judges are, and like. The shadiest guy of them all, actually, is actually from Montreal, Sal D'Amato. Every time there's something weird, like he's always involved. So, like, I'll actually know which fights that he's doing and stuff, and I'll stay away at times. But Hockey is the same thing. I would say baseball too. We'll see, right? Baseball, I said, Cam, remember the old days? If you were up 5-0 in a baseball game in like the 90s or 80s, it was like, hey, we're going to win. Like, we're not going to blow the lead. It would be rare to blow the lead. Now, you could be up 3-0 after the first inning and be losing 5-3 after the second. Like,
correct.
Leads don't mean as much, but I don't think it's as accentuated as it is in the NHL. I think the NHL, it's to the point now where when a team is down by 2, you just blindly freaking take them.
Yep.
Oh, I completely agree. Or even take them on that puck line plus the 2.5. There was a couple of games
both. You take the plus 2.5 and a little on top of the money.
You're right. Split up the bet. That's a good way to do it. Agreed.
Because most of the times they flip. Like there's not that many sort of routes. You know what I'm saying? Like the team will battle back, and it's wild. Like, man, today was just crazy, symbolic of that. I like to get the number. Like I said, last year was like 43% of the teams that won were trailing at some point in the game. And it was nearly 30% of the time teams that won a game, they were actually down by 2 goals. I think it was 28% of the time they were down by 2 goals. At those odds, like, man, like there's a lot of money to be made. 46-35 for Houston. They're starting to pull away from Iowa State a little bit. This is SportsRage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pops looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Well, I said these college basketball games are kind of boring earlier. Texas A&M Commerce and Incarnate Word, not so boring at the end of the game. It was a 76-72 game. A&M Commerce gets it done on the road at Incarnate Word. After the game, all hell broke loose. And I've been watching this over and over. And it's one of those things, it's moving fast and stuff. So I'm trying to, like, find the funny parts of who got smoked and what happened. But it just exploded, like, at the end. Like, the end of the game, there was, instead of the handshake line, A&M Commerce seemed to start it. Like, A&M Commerce had a problem with something, man. Like, even one of their assistant coaches was, like, going at it. And, like, they were bitching, and they started pushing and shoving, sort of not throwing, but sort of pushing and shoving. And Incarnate Word was like, all right, you guys want to go? We're going to go. And then there's just like a mass of bodies flying around. One dude, I'm looking here, is it number 5? One kid on Incarnate Word got like smoked in the face twice. And like, I don't even think he like was like, he didn't even mean to get in on it. He was sort of like behind it all, but everyone's arms are so long. Someone like reached over. Someone like I said, there was just indiscriminate swinging of the arms by Texas A&M Commerce. Pat Foster is putting this together for us right now, Master Control. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Now I just saw. There's one of the equipment. Yeah, one of the kids just got, like, run over at midcourt. Like I said, it's one of these deals where, like, you need to see it, like, 25 times because there's so much going on. Yeah, look at, so was that number 5? One of the kids on Incarnate Word got punched in the head, and he got punched in the back of the head. He got punched in the face. Then Incarnate Word had enough of it. There's sort of like a melee. They're rolling around on the floor. I think the kids on it, this is hilarious. The kids on Texas A&M Commerce tackled their own coach accidentally. They took down their own coach and then realized, oh, my God, he's with us. All right, here's Buddy on Incarnate Word, number 8. He's going off. He just ran over and freaking flattened. I think he flattened his own guy, too. There's a lot of friendly fire going on this. These dudes are just, like, swinging and running around, like, hitting each other, and they're hitting each other. I swear to God, the kid on A&M Commerce, the two dudes, look at the middle of the floor when they all go down. They tackled each other. That Buddy on Incarnate Word, number 8, really gets pissed after, like, about a minute after all this. He wants more. He's like, I don't know who the hell he's so mad about. Here he is, number 8. Another number 8. He just loses it. Boom. All right, you know what? I'm seeing it now over and over on a loop. Number 8 just ran over one of his assistants that was trying to stop him from trying to, like, do something. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So 76-72, Texas A&M and Incarnate Word.
Yes.
I would suspend them all, Cam. I would suspend them all. I don't mind them doing this, whatever. Get your, you know what I mean? There was frustrations. Okay, fine. But just to let you kids know, you're all suspended for 3 games.
Isn't our
you can't run on the court and just start a brawl like this. Like, no, you're all suspended.
I don't know what's going on. What's the hatred between Commerce and Incarnate Word? Like, is there a rivalry there? Or who knows?
Someone must have said something.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I'd make them all extra Bible study for the kids, man.
Yeah, that's right. Incarnate Word.
Listen, they'll say, you guys, just for the record, you guys, like, that's the punishment. Like, if I was the dean, I'd say you're an embarrassment to our school. And because of this, you have to go see Father Jones for 3 hours a day, every day this week. 15 hours of Bible study. Hope it was worth it.
No practice. It's great. Yes. That's funny. I don't know. Commerce saying it, that's weird, man. I didn't expect that from Incarnate Word. It'd be the last school you'd think you'd get in a brawl, but hey, things happen.
Here's NCAA buzzer beaters on Twitter. Probably the worst brawl we've seen this year.
Worst brawl we've seen all year. That's great.
Rex Chapman's in on it right now. You had the Basketball World's Barstool Sports. It's fight night at the Incarnate Word game. Here's full of the wild brawl. The media really hyped this stuff up. Wild stuff. Oh, it was funny, but it's no mall at the brawl. Brawl at the mall. Like, did anyone really like, all right, the white kid on Incarnate Word ate a couple of shots. A couple of people got run over. No one really got lit up or like anything like that. So at least these guys showed more emotion than the NBA All-Stars did last night.
Yeah.
Bringing the passion back. All right, so college basketball right now. It's 46-41 for Houston. The in-game total is 129.5. Remember I told you guys 122 was too light at the half. It's creeping up on the real total right now. Although there's not a lot of fouls, so we're not in the bonus yet. And Texas are starting to pull away a little bit. Texas are up a 9 spot on K-State right now. This game has no hope in hell of going over the number. The in-game total is 113.5. I nearly bet this game, but I didn't. I was going to take Alabama A&M on the money line. They're winning 57-56 right now. And as I was going to do it, I realized, what the hell am I doing betting on an Arkansas Pine Bluff Alabama A&M game? So I didn't pull the trigger on it.
You've done crazier.
Yeah. I was betting on Ugandan basketball the other night. I won.
Ugandan basketball.
Yeah, the Ugandan basketball league. Uganda.
I'll take Kamala.
I tweeted out, I said, I'm the only person in the world that just gave you a Ugandan winner. Minus 12.5. They won KCC. They won by 18.
Wow. With the bet.
Oh, boy.
Big cash.
Kamala.
I'm on a nice little roll with that stuff. I've been hitting a lot of NCAA baseball. Like the baseball season started, NCAA baseball. I'm literally like, I'm 3-0 now. I was going to say 4, but I think it's 3. I'm 3-0. I've only played 3 games, just started. I played 3 bets so far, and I've won every one of them so far with NCAA baseball, but there's no baseball going on tonight. It was great last night, like in the late night hours, man. After the All-Star game, there was NCAA baseball going on. But let's take a look at Tuesday's hockey. We've got a full slate of games going on. It was a weird, wild day today in the National Hockey League. We'll see if things tighten up a little bit tomorrow. The Dallas Stars, Joe, were at Boston today. It's a tough spot going back-to-back against these really good teams like that in the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. The Rangers are minus 140 favorites. The total is 6.5 in that game. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think you got to jump on the Rangers before that line moves anymore. They were right around the minus 136 earlier in the day, and I think they have it here. I just don't like the Dallas Stars on the second night of a back-to-back. We will see probably Wedgwood in net for them. And Jonathan Quick should be in net for the New York Rangers, and I trust in him. I actually think I have more confidence in him right now. He had a couple of shaky spots during the season, but I think he can get it done. So the New York Rangers, for me, I would expect this one to go under. I'm looking for this to be a tighter game, especially the Dallas Stars. I just don't see them scoring a lot of goals in this one to help push us over that 6.5. So I'd be looking at the under as well.
Yeah, 6.5 feels a little high. Boston and Dallas did get there today. Boston wins 4-3. Cam, what's your thoughts on the Stars and the Rangers?
I like the Rangers as well. Dallas, they had a really tough game with Boston today. They've been playing a lot of hockey. You get the Rangers at a decent price. I think they'll take care of business. But Dallas is a tough out, but they're also an older team, so we get them on the back-to-back. Yeah, bet the Rangers now before that line goes up. I'm with Madden on this one. I think the Rangers get it done.
The Devils are minus 170 favorites, and Washington feels a little bit high to be laying that price, 70 cents. The total 6.5 as well. The Islanders are plus 120 in Pittsburgh. The Penguins are minus 140. The total is 5.5 there. Ottawa Senators in Florida played Tampa tonight, won. Now they get Florida. Florida are minus 245 favorites. Ottawa are plus 200, total 6.5. The Minnesota Wild, off that wild game today, they're on the road now against the Winnipeg Jets, who are back home. Jets blow the lead today against the Calgary Flames. They're minus 160. The total is 6. Life does not get easier for the Canucks on a 2-game losing streak now. The Canucks are in the Mile High City tomorrow night against the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche are minus 150 favorites, plus 125. Canucks, total 6.5. What do you think of the games tomorrow, Joe? What catches your eye?
Yeah, some great games. What catches my eye is I wish we could bet penalty minutes between the Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers, because the last time these teams played, everyone was in that penalty box. There was penalties all over. We got the Tkachuk brothers going at each other. But I think the Florida Panthers are the right side in that one. We got a high price here. I'm willing to take them on the puck line. I think they're able to get it done. I just don't trust Ottawa on the second night of a back-to-back to be able to do it. Looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, I'm going to look at their team total to go over. While I really like what we've seen out of Patrick Waugh getting this defense to tighten up a little bit, we saw what happened with them in that outdoor game versus the Rangers. And I do think the Penguins have the ability with Crosby to come out nice and strong in this game and go over that total of 3.5. And then looking at the Devils, the price is juicy versus the Washington Capitals, but we do have huge road ice advantage for these teams, with the road team winning the last 5. So I think I'll look at them here in regulation, just bring down that price a little bit on that game. And then I think Vancouver and Colorado, that one has to go over the total. I'm not trusting what we're seeing out of Colorado on the goaltending side of things. And Vancouver, like, what the heck happened? We should see them tighten up in this one. They allowed 7 goals in the third period tonight. So that total 6.5 is just way too light in this one. While I do think defense tries to show up, I'm just not believing in it right now, you guys.
I imagine Rick Talk is not in a very good mood on the plane going to Denver tonight after watching that collapse today. What do you like tomorrow, Cam?
I think Vancouver's live, Gabe. I'm going to come back to the Canucks after a game like that. I think Tocchet is the type of guy, and I think they can respond. I think Vancouver's going to bring their A game in Colorado. I wish we got a little bit more. I do like the Devils. I know it's a little bit juicy. I also think Minnesota's in a bad spot tomorrow. Sure, they beat Vancouver today, but the Jets, coming off a loss to Calgary, will be in an ill mood. So I would look at Winnipeg. Don't want to really lay the juice, but I'm going to. And other than that, a couple other games. We like the Rangers we talked about, and there was something else that I was looking at too. I think the Islanders could be live against Pittsburgh. The Penguins have a lot of problems.
The Columbus Blue Jackets are in L.A. The Kings are minus 260 favorites. Total 6.5. We have a lot of high totals tomorrow. Nashville Predators plus 120 in Vegas tomorrow night. Total is 6 there. Vegas are minus 140 in that game. And MLS soccer actually starts on Wednesday. So, things are starting to pick up. We had NASCAR began today. And it's like betting golf, Cam, today, that frustration. I only played 2 guys. I took Blaney and I took Denny Hamlin. And I really did. I came this close. I saw him on the sheet, and there was an odds boost to 20-1, William Byron, I was like, you know what? There's a boost that he could win. And the race was starting, and I was like, nah, just go with the 2 guys you like. And I even crossed my mind. It was one of those things. I looked at it long enough, Joe, where I had that thought. I was like, dude, if he wins now and you didn't take this, you're going to be upset because you've stared at this thing for like the last 2 minutes, and you didn't do it. And then, of course, he wins on a stupid, whatever. There was a crash with 8 laps left, and he wins the race, but that's NASCAR betting. You got to sometimes live with the bets you didn't make.
You're right, Gabe. Like I had Zalatoris this week. I'll tell you, in golf, watching golf on Sunday, it's just a lesson in torture. Like, you just sit there and go, "Oh, my guy's going to win." And
that guy. I should have taken
and then I got a little bit on Hideki, but other guys, you can't take everybody. It's life, man. It's nuts.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pop looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
This sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Monday Night Meltdown continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. 53-47 for the Houston Cougars right now. There's 7.5 minutes left in this game. So Iowa State are lingering. Iowa State are a good basketball team, man.
They are.
Like, they don't get the same hype as like other teams because of their geographical location. But if you look at Houston, Cam, how hyped up Houston are. Houston are 22-3 on the season. All right, Iowa State are 20-5. If you look in Big 12 play, Iowa State are 9-3, Houston are 9-3. Yep. Like, there's not that much of a difference. Like, Iowa State are right there. One thing with Iowa State, they're obviously just so, like, road-home dichotomy, but they're battling here. They started off slow, give them credit. They're going to be a tough out in the NCAA tournament. And, in fact, Iowa State just hit a 3 right now to cut the lead to 5 with 6.5 minutes left. I've got the Houston Cougars to win this game with Texas in the moneyline parlay with Charleston. But my concern is the over of this game. I want to get the over home here. What's my number? I've got 132. Oh, boy. We're at 105 with 6.5 minutes left right now. The Iowa State Cyclones are in the bonus right now. They're going to be shooting free throws for the rest of the game. They've only committed 2 fouls, though, so that's frustrating. Houston are not going to the line. Iowa State will be going to the line the rest of the night. The new in-game total right now is 131.5. If you guys remember when we started the show, it was halftime. It was 122.5, and I said it was too light. That they were going to go over they would get over 122.5. They're up to 131 right now as far as the in-game is concerned. I think we can maybe get here. We'll see. I've been kind of, I'm not going to say cold, but I haven't had the greatest luck over the last, 24 hours and stuff. But when you bet as much as I do, it sort of comes in waves, right? And I can sort of feel it. It's like, oh, yeah, all right, here we go. Here's the beginning of a little bit of a here's going to be a bad little run for the next couple of days. I sort of felt it Saturday night, Cam, at the hockey game. Like, I just sort of, after the game, I was like, man, I was confident about the West winning. That was a big loss, and I've been fighting, trying to get it back since. Let's do this thing. This is Sports Rage. A Monday Night Meltdown. Level 2 begins. There's 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining right now in Austin, Texas. The Longhorns are up 8, so it's right on the number. They were like 9.5, 9.5. I thought the number was high, but it's right on the number. And like I just said a couple of moments ago about Iowa State, they're not the only ones. This Big 12 is such a home-dominant conference, man. Like, look, Iowa State are unbeatable at home. Houston haven't lost at home. We talk about Kansas. Kansas win at home most of the time. I know they've stumbled a couple of times, but they struggle on the road. It's a home dominant conference. It's hard to win on the road in this conference. 57-50 right now for Houston. So both these games, 57-52, Iowa State just scored. Both these games coming down to the wire, Cam, as far as the point spreads are concerned. Like Iowa State looks like they can cover. It came down, actually. People took Iowa State today. It was 9.5, and it went all the way down to 8.5.
Yeah, no, we talk about it. The Cyclones are really good, and you talk about home dominance, but they're playing a great game. If this game was being played in Ames and only being down 2 to Houston, I think they'd win this game at home. They're a very, very competitive team, Gabe. You talk about it. They don't get any hype. As for Texas, Kansas State, the number was way off on the total in this game, and it looks like the K-State Wildcats are making a little bit of a run, probably a little too late, but 54-48 with 2 and change left in the second half.
Yeah, the odds makers, I said it's not been a great 48 hours for me. And you know what it is? It's stupid, too. It's my own fault. Like, I haven't lost more bets, really, but bad money management. Like, I got stupid on a couple of games and backfired this and that. Specifically the All-Star game. That's my bad. But these numbers, man, they're very, very close. Very, very tight numbers coming in here tonight. Both competitive games. But the odds makers have been off as well. And shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM 159. If you look at the betting market too, like people have just been it's easy to say after the fact with the NBA All-Star game, it's the highest scoring game ever in basketball history, which it was. But dude, the number came down. It was as high as like 367.5. Okay. That total, it closed at 355. Like, I remember we were doing the math on Friday with Rob Vino, and we're like, man, you got to get into the 180s on both teams to get to this number. Like, and even me and Rob love betting overs, and we were like, man, it's just too high. And all the sharps and wise guys hammered the total and beat it down all the way to 355. And right before tip-off, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? How the hell am I not going to bet the over 355 now? And I did. And look how wrong the odds makers were, bro. They closed at 355. What did it get to? Like 411 or something stupid, whatever the hell it was. I can't even count like that high. Like
way off. I gotta be honest with you though, Gabe. Like I know you like
a calculator out, Cam, at one point last night. I was adding it up. I'm like, so what are we at now, anyways? I was like, what do I need? I was doing the math. I was like, it's too high.
Calculator.
I was like, what is it? It's 190 to 1. I want like
me and my pen. It's like me and my pen and paper doing the addition. What do I need here? You got the calculator. I got to tell you,
times I was on a calculator. I was like, okay, I need 73 points now in this quarter. I couldn't figure it out.
You're playing with fire. You know too, Morency. This is not our first rodeo. Like anything could happen. It's fun to put more units on it, but they're stupid games.
You're better off just taking the underdog all the time.
Yes.
You're just better off taking the underdog. Well, I just take the underdog every time.
Exactly.
Look at the NHL, bro. The underdog teams won in the NHL All-Star game.
Yep.
The tournaments, the plus money teams won. The Rising Stars Challenge. Look, that G League team won. They were like minus 350, plus 350 on the money line, plus 280 or whatever the hell it was. A lot of times, like you said, it comes down to effort, the All-Star game, because they're all good. So it comes down to which team is, and it's not even which team is going to try more, which team is like not going to not care. Like last night, Scotty Barnes ended up with 16 points, okay, on the Raptors. Dude, there was he literally had 4 dunks where nobody stopped him. He just walked right in and dunked it, right? Like the West would stop and try to shoot a 3 and miss. The East guys were like, you know what? Like Giannis just kept dunking it. Dunk. Lillard was hitting threes. Halliburton's hitting threes, and everybody else was laying it up or dunking it. They weren't trying stupid stuff. The team, the West team, they were like, oh, let me try to pass it to myself off the backboard. Like LeBron, like Luka took a shot from the other free throw line. Like, it's like, dude.
Like, why?
Like, really? Like, some of us have money on this, Luca. Like, thanks a lot, buddy. It's lesson learned. I'm never betting on an All-Star game again with Luca and Joker because those guys don't care.
No, as I said, and you talked about it, Joker cares more about a standard-bred horse than going to the All-Star game or doing any interviews. And Gabe, let's call it out for what it is, man. This is something that needs help. It needs to be revamped, but I'm not sure how you do it. I'm not sure how you change it. It just is what it is, and it's
up to the players, bro. There's nothing you can't change it. It's up to the players to want to. That's the thing. I would tell them, listen, this represents your league. So if this is what you want people to see, if this is what we want people to think about you, fine. But I don't know really what you could do about it. They're not going to change. Like, to be honest, the skills competition is bigger than the game anyways.
Yeah.
So they need to worry about fixing the slam dunk contest, right? Point blank. That's the number one thing they need to fix for the All-Star weekend. And I think we're going in a positive direction. I think we're finally at the point now where players in the NBA are watching this and they're like, this is an embarrassment. And number two, I could actually win this thing since nobody else is entering. So we saw Jaylen Brown enter. He didn't get it done. But they were talking last night about how Ja Morant was telling people that he wants to do the slam dunk contest next year.
Cool.
And there was also talk of Zion. I think that the commissioner, I think that the NBA is going to put put pressure because you can't save the All-Star game itself. It is what it is. So you can save, though, the slam dunk contest. You can, look at and we knew coming in that the Sabrina Ionescu, Steph Curry thing was the coolest event of the weekend, and it turned out to be. It was big drama, right? It was cool. It lived up to the hype. That stuff is worth it, right? Just so next year, you know what I mean? Do it with Caitlin Clark. Next year, they're talking, there was just kicking ideas around, but Dame Lillard and Steph Curry, team against Caitlin Clark and Ionescu and stuff, right? But Caitlin Clark will be involved in this next year. But the dunk contest needs to be safe because it's supposed the slam dunk contest is supposed to be a big time thing, man. And why do we have guys from the G League? This is pretty bad. No offense to Mac McClung, but if you're not in the NBA, you shouldn't be in the NBA slam dunk contest, bro. It's not like rocket science. You're not even in the league.
I think you bring up a good point. It's up to somebody in high power situations say is enough is enough. This used to be a top star competition with Dominique, Spud Webb, Michael Jordan, and such the like of these guys. They have to improve
those guys
the level
have
of
pride
performance
to want to put on a
yes,
show.
They did. They're different. Michael Jordan ain't losing anything. Checkers.
Give $5 million to the winner or something. Because $1 million doesn't make these guys care. They don't care about a million NBA players. It's not enough.
Yeah, more money.
$5 million. Or better yet, what I would do, I'd get the shoe companies involved. And I would say, listen, if you win, you get a $100 million shoe deal with Nike or something. Sponsor the actual slam dunk contest.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Kev. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game to take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game? His name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pop looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I got to tell you, man, college basketball cheerleading's come a long way from the old days. The Houston Cougars, like, these girls are twerking and stuff. Like, they're bending over and twerking. I'm thinking, wow, man, we've come a long way with college basketball cheerleading. God bless them. It's the most exciting thing about college basketball. So we got it's 66 to 57 right now. The Houston Cougars have buried a couple of threes here over the last minute and a half or so. So they're up by they're up right now 66 to 57. They're up by 9. Right, it's right on the number right now. Meanwhile, similar situation with K-State and Texas. Texas are up by 7 with 30 seconds left. It looks like K-State are going to steal the cover here.
Yep.
It looks like Texas are going to win the game, but it looks like K-State could get the cover. I'm trying to get home the over of this basketball game. We're at 123 right now. I need to get to, what do I got? I got over 132.5. No, I got even 132. So I got to get to 132. We're at 123. There's a $1.51 left. Houston are going to the free throw line right now. I don't know. I might win or I might lose. We'll find out. The way things are going, I'll probably lose they'll get to 131, Ken.
I might win or I might lose. Okay, thank you.
See, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I'm looking, I'm like, I don't
These
know.
are
I
tight
could
games.
win. Put it this way. Normally, I'd be like, oh, yeah, for sure they're going to get it. But I don't know, dude. Like, Houston's defense is good. And I've had bad luck over the last 24 hours or so. So we'll see what happens here. I don't know. Maybe I haven't had bad luck. My picks have just sucked, actually. It's not bad luck. Let's bring in George Kurtz. What's up, George?
Hey, George.
I think we all have the
It's not bad
days
luck.
and
I
nights
was
like
on the
that when
Canucks.
the
That
picks
was
just suck.
Yeah, it wasn't like – I actually got paid for the Canuck game. Thank God for that 3-goal payout. I really did. I got paid for the Canuck game.
Huge.
So I actually did not. I won money on that game, even though I took the Vancouver Canucks. You got to love that promo.
Best promo in sports. Guy calls me, who cares? Guy's like, oh, what about the juice? I'm like, the juice? It's the difference between winning and losing, man. You're getting paid on a 3-goal lead. How many 3-goal leads in hockey get beaten up? Oh, all the time. It's the best. Yes.
It's a good promo, George. They pay you if your hockey team is up by 3 goals. You get paid as a winner.
Pretty good.
Oh, that's actually very. I don't think that would have paid off yesterday with the Islanders, right? Then I'd be a winner instead of very aggravated.
That's what I'm saying.
Game ended.
You bet a lot of baseball. Baseball is 5 runs. If your team is up by 5 runs, you get paid.
Yeah.
Not bad. Well, where is 3. This, by the way?
It's Bet365. Soccer is 3. They're in New Jersey. I don't know if they're in New York.
Yeah.
They are in New Jersey, though.
Getting
I don't know. Are they in New York? Do you know?
I think they are in New York. I'd have to check out. ESPN
I think they
bet,
are.
I believe, just came in New York. Like last week, I think it finally came.
But they don't have that promo.
No, they don't.
Good for
Well,
them.
not as far as I know. Last time I checked, it wasn't available.
Yeah, that's so
I'm talking about.
It's okay.
I'll check during the break.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's good. And baseball's around the corner, George. 5-run lead in baseball these days. Me and Gabe talk about it. They blow them too. Just like 3-goal leads in hockey.
Training game is Saturday. Yeah. It's hard to believe.
Amazing. It is.
Yeah, baseball. Baseball is nearly here. The Dodgers actually play on Thursday, so that's the first spring training game of the year. They're up first because they're playing first.
They should start early because they play early, right? The 20th.
They're playing San Diego. They're playing San Diego too, like on Thursday. I think it's Thursday. It is Thursday. For the record, they announced that Ohtani will not play.
Smart.
And I don't think he's going to play in the series. And I don't know why. Are they overthinking things? But the thought is that they don't want San Diego seeing him.
What do you mean seeing?
That's crazy. They it's like because they're playing him first in the first game of the year. So
he's not pitching against them.
I know. Like
that's just weird.
They're not. Listen. Yeah, they announced he won't play against San Diego. Expecting to make his debut on the weekend. And you see, he's healthy.
He's making a spring training game.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
I think it's San Diego as far as the game.
No, because they're playing the first game of the year against each other in a regular season.
That's fine.
So they don't want Yamamoto or Ohtani to play against them. They want.
Smart.
Yeah,
you got to protect these guys. That's
but some people are like, oh, this is pretty. Some people are like, oh, it's pretty petty spring training. No, I'm like, the Dodgers are thinking ahead. They're like, no, we're playing these guys in 3 weeks. We're not playing them.
If you're the Dodgers, the big picture.
I wouldn't have Yamamoto go against them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have Yamamoto go against them. No reason. But I imagine the San Diego pitching staff has already pitched against Ohtani.
Yeah,
so I'm not
I don't get that
sure
part
that
either.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you need game tape? Like, newsflash, guys, Ohtani's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whatever.
Is the first spring training game at home?
Hits or not? What does it change? I don't know. Like,
I agree.
Is the first Dodger spring training game at home on Thursday, or is it in San Diego site?
I think it's in Glendale.
Yeah.
But
it's in San Diego site. So I wonder if that had. Do they want him to open at the Dodgers facility? Is that what really the other reason is?
Let me see.
I wonder.
Where's the Padres facility? Isn't it in Glendale as well? Aren't they? They are, aren't they, in Glendale?
They're both in Arizona. Other than that, I can't help you.
It's kind of strange, eh? The Dodgers spring training is in the Arizona Diamondbacks home city. It's just, I find that to be bizarre. Oh, Peoria.
Yeah, where's
okay,
Peoria?
so Peoria.
Yeah,
Peoria.
Peoria, Arizona. Yep.
So I just wondered if they wanted to open up in Dodgers at the Dodgers site, which is fine.
Good call, George. Good call. All right, let me see. So Dodgers schedule. All right. So the question is, are you going to be betting on this stuff, George?
I do bet spring training games. I am of that believer where you can look at the lineups, you get an idea. There's some of these road teams. I know the rule in baseball is you have to have 3 regulars in, but they don't, and they're going to put a whole bunch of scrubs. Not even their top scrubs, especially as we get deeper in spring training. Those guys get sent back down to the AAA squad. I think there is an edge you can find it in spring training baseball. I do.
I almost think it's the opposite, though. That you just take the worst lineup as the underdog all the time, Cam. I'm just serious, but you know what? I'm going to take the worst lineup here at plus 150 and hope for the best.
It actually, you know what? It's actually a great strategy. As crazy as it sounds, we should actually document this because I want to see.
I think that was early in spring. I think that was early in spring training because Judge will get one at bat on Saturday, then he's gone.
All kidding aside, it's a good point. When people see starting and stuff at baseball, it doesn't mean anything. It means you're going to get an at bat. But all kidding aside, from a serious note, I think overs in spring training baseball in the modern era right now, there's a lot of late runs in these games. When you throw these scrub kid pitchers in late in these spring training games, you get runs because the other people can hit nowadays. Everyone's trying to hit a home run, right? So 2-run home run, 3-run home run there. But I will say it's hard. Like, NFL preseason, all right, we hit the over. Boom, we get it. It's 71-62. We get to 133. There's 35 seconds left. 71-62 for the Houston Cougars right now. But I was going to say, with spring training, guys, every year, just ride the hot hand in spring training. We don't know what teams is going to be. It might be the Seattle Mariners. It might be the Pittsburgh Pirates. It might be the Dodgers. It might be someone good. It might be someone bad, right? There's no real method to it. But whoever is hot, just ride it out. Because there's always a couple of teams in spring training. You'll look up, and like if you're not betting on it, guys, you'll look up and you'll be like, damn, man, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 12-2 in spring training.
I think it was
right?
the Pirates the other year.
Like,
they were on
the
fire.
type of thing, Cam. Yeah, like the White Sox, the Pirates. Like, sort of think of bad teams, Cam. Now we have to bet the Pirates. Like I'm telling you, the Pirates are going to have a good spring. The White Sox, teams that like people think suck. They'll be all fired up in camp and stuff like that. They'll win a couple of games, and you'll win more money than losing. So that's what I'm saying. And you'll notice, too, if a team is sucking in spring training, ride that wave, right? Say, you know what, man, these guys just don't care, right? Because you'll see there'll be teams that are really bad. There'll be teams that are really good. We don't know who they're going to be. You have to wait and identify it. This is SportsRage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of casts off and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pop looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Monday Night Meltdown continues. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Let's do this thing. So the Houston Cougars just won the game by 8. The game goes over the number. So it was nice to cash the over on the way out. We hit that money line parlay as well. Iowa State covered the number. And, you got to wonder if Iowa State didn't foul with like 25 seconds, 30 seconds left, 25 seconds left. And they were down 8. They could have fouled. They didn't. Point spread was 8.5. Just have to wonder if the coach said, you know what? Let me get the boosters the win here on the way out.
Yeah.
Why upset them with a pointless foul? Some coaches are aware of the point spread and care about that stuff. Others don't. Bowden, Terry Bowden, Bobby Bowden's son, used to be on our network a lot with Joe Lisi. Lisi's buddies with him, and they talked about that. And Bowden said point blank, when you're coaching the Akron Zips, and that's this is exactly the angle you need to know, guys. So Bowden's coaching Akron. People in Akron aren't expecting to go to the college football playoff, all right? They'd be ecstatic to make it to a damn bowl game. But really, it comes down to, listen, can you cover the point spread at least? We're going to lose, but can you cover the point spread so we can win our bets and cover? And Bowden understood that. He was like, oh, yeah. When we were down 40 or something and the point spread was 37, I would try to score. Yes. Right? And he brought it up about, I want to keep the fans happy and the boosters. They don't have a lot to cheer about and stuff. And I always talk about it, Ken, when I say, too, and I'm not kidding, that's if you're a coach, that's how you get, the free Lexus and stuff, right, from the Lexus dealer who's betting on the games, right? You're covering the point spread. That's how you get the country club golf membership for free. You cover point spreads. You either win games, if you're a big-time coach, you don't need to cover. You just need to win the championships and win your conference and stuff like that, and you get all the perks. But when you're a mid-tier and you're bad, you got to cover point spreads, right? And I'm not saying that Iowa State's coach knew the point spread, but I imagine he probably would have. I'm just saying. So I wanted to get back to the NFL because I brought this up earlier, Kurtz. You got to follow social media to be on top of what players are thinking, man. And Justin Fields has unfollowed the Chicago Bears from his social media accounts.
Yeah.
Breaking news, just tonight he did. Which leads me to believe that Justin Fields feels like he will not be on the Chicago Bears for much longer.
And I think he's right. But doesn't this also seem to be the new playbook for players now? Whenever they don't want to be on a team.
When you want money, George, though, when your contract's up. Kyler Murray did it. Others,
he wants to get the big contract, so he wants money as well.
Samuel did it. For San Francisco, he took all the Niners stuff off.
You're right. It's the new move for sure.
But it makes sense for the Chicago Bears to draft Williams. I'd have a tough time not believing in Fields. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, but we keep saying it. You get to reset the quarterback pay. So you don't have to give him the $40 million contract without knowing for sure if he's that guy, right? You use the pick on Williams there. You'll get something back for Fields, second-round pick, maybe a low first-round pick here. So it does make sense. I just feel like we don't know about Fields because you never really surrounded him with talent, all right? You finally got a decent wide receiver this year. Komet's a decent tight end. Running game's okay. If you would have surrounded him with talent, I think we would have seen more from him where you wouldn't want to move on. But the fact that you didn't do that means, I guess the decision is easier for you to draft Caleb Williams.
I think that two things can be right, though. I think in the sense, if you're the Chicago Bears, I agree with you, George. I think it's time for a reset. Specifically, Justin Fields, however you feel about him, he's going to get paid soon. You're going to have to pay this guy. So do you really want to be, is he your quarterback? All right, is he our guy? Then you could argue, well, we went through the growing pains with him. The thing is, how much better is he really going to get? But I think two things can be right. I think, as you stated, I think it's a good move for the Chicago Bears to go with Caleb Williams. I like Justin Fields, but I would go with Caleb Williams if I was the Bears. I would reset. I would have started with a new coach, though, and a new staff. I find that to be baffling, but nevertheless. But with that being stated, I think Justin Fields can help another NFL football team that has talent around him.
Agreed.
Right? So two things can be right? Justin Fields you have a second chance. You're going to be surrounded with a team that has wide receivers and talent, and you won't be playing in bad weather outdoors in this North Division and all this. And if you're the Bears, we're getting this prospect that reminds people the most of Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Strong words, I get it, but as far as the sidearm stuff, the improvisation, the athletic ability, Caleb Williams has it. I don't know if Chicago's the right place for him, though, to be honest. Me personally, if I was the Washington Commanders, I would trade up. I would just blow them away. I would reset if I was the Commanders. He's from Washington. They have Cliff Kingsbury there. Just reunite them. Just do it. Pull the trigger. But it seems like the Bears want Caleb Williams because the word was that they told people, like, yeah, we want like 5 first-round picks. Like they suppose like their thing was like, whatever, we'll just scare people off by saying crazy things to them because we actually want to keep them. And if they want to come back with something really stupid, we'll listen. But it seems to me, now here are the odds right now. And I brought them up earlier, but if you're just joining us right now. So we have odds, George and Cam, for where Williams, where Justin Fields will end up playing and where Caleb Williams will end up playing, obviously. Let me get this here under specials. What team will Justin Fields be on, George Kurtz? Here are the odds. Pittsburgh Steelers, plus 150. Chicago Bears, plus 250. Atlanta Falcons, plus 350. New England Patriots, 6-1. Broncos, 12-1. Raiders, 12-1. Commanders, 14-1. Vikings 30-1, Seahawks 30-1, Buccaneers 50-1. The Carolina Panthers aren't like going to have them. They're 60-1. The Giants are 66-1, and the Titans are 80-1. Where do you think Justin Fields plays next year, George? What team is he going to be on?
Well, Adam Schefter reported that Washington will not trade up. So take that for what it's worth, all right? Everybody's lying nowadays. What did we hear about Pittsburgh a couple of days ago? That they want to go in with either Rudolph or Pickett, and they will not acquire a veteran quarterback this offseason. That boggles my mind, by the way. What? I mean, if you don't want to trade for Fields, fine. You won't even bring anybody in? That doesn't make any sense to me. I still like the idea of Fields in Pittsburgh because I do wonder. I think Chicago wants the best deal, but maybe they'd like to get Fields out of the NFC, because I think Atlanta's a perfect spot for him. Give away that second-round pick, about 40th overall. That would look good there. New England, I think, makes sense too. You get him out of your conference, put him in the AFC there. I think he'd go with New England. They got to rebuild around him.
The thing with New England is, though, wouldn't they want to start with the rookie contract as well with the rookie quarterback? They have the third pick in the draft, right? So they could reset the quarterback. Mac Jones is clearly not the answer.
I think your Raiders pick game for the value.
Raiders at 12-1.
The
Raiders at 12-1.
Yes. If you look at the Raiders at 12-1, you could make a case. Sorry? Was that
Atlanta
George?
or the Raiders?
Yeah. The Raiders are a crazy price, and it's something that could happen. They need a friggin' quarterback. Fields would be perfect. Like he did. I think that's an insane price. That's the value.
There's a thought now with the Raiders. If you look, like they actually have like star players, right? They have skill position players. You've got Max Crosby. You could use help in the secondary, but your defense isn't terrible. They're not all that far off, right? I don't know what they're going to do with Jacobs. I imagine he won't be there, so whatever. They'll get a running back in the draft or whatever. But the quarterback. It's not good enough, Aiden O'Connell. No offense to Aiden O'Connell. It's not good enough. Like, let's just be real. You're in a damn division with Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and now the Broncos are going to get a quarterback. Like, I don't know. What about Russell Wilson to the Raiders? That wouldn't shock me either, though, guys.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Just to see him play Denver a couple of times here. Where does Kirk Cousins go? Minnesota came out today and said they will not guarantee his next contract. So does that push him away from Minnesota? Does he end up with Atlanta? Does he end up with the Raiders? I mean, Kirk Cousins would look good indoors in Vegas.
Does he end up with the Broncos?
Adams.
But I don't know if they have the money after this Wilson stuff. Like,
right, they're going to have some money issues. Yeah, I don't know if the Broncos could. I don't know what the Broncos. They're going to draft somebody, I guess, and hope maybe your boy J.J. McCarthy ends up in Denver.
Kirk Cousins is the number one free agent in the National Football League, though. Like, he's the one. Like, he's the quarterback that people are going to be calling.
He's
got the Jets. Yeah. But then you've got sort of the second tier guys who aren't very good, actually. Like, if you look at the list of quarterbacks that are out there, there's a big drop Like Ryan Tannehill?
No thanks. I like him, but yeah.
These are the quarterbacks that are available. Sam Darnold, these are the free agents. Sam Darnold, Joshua Dobbs, Tyler Huntley, Marcus Mariota, Mason Rudolph, Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill. If I was the New York Jets, I'd go after Minshew. He's perfect. You have Aaron Rodgers there. Rodgers going to get hurt again anyways. We all know it.
I think Minshew wants the starting job, though. I think he's going to go to a team that give him a starting shot. I think he's tired of being the number one backup on a team.
And then you get Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Does Kirk Cousins go back to Washington?
I don't see that because we all know teams nowadays, they're going to use their rookie quarterback. They're going to play him first year.
I know. Why? Exactly.
Yes.
So that's why the Raiders make a lot of sense for Kirk Cousins. You got Devontae Adams. The Raiders have $50 million under the cap now, guys, because they get to cut Jimmy Garoppolo because he failed the drug test. It was perfect for them. The Raiders have money. They're one of the teams that actually has money to spend. They could bring Kirk Cousins.
Set him up. Jimmy, take this.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. There's the if. If they win. Fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pop looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We're talking about Justin Fields. We'll break this stuff down with our boy Mo Khan at level 3 as well. Look forward to his take on this. So there's odds up for Derrick Henry right now as well. Where will Derrick Henry be playing next year? What team will Derrick Henry be on in September? All right, the actual wording of the date is September the 5th. So you're going to have to wait, right? Which is stupid because if a team trades for somebody, are they really going to trade him before the season starts? Again, no. Right, but anyways. So I don't know. Maybe they'll pay you, whatever. But what team? So he's not going to be on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are rebuilding. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a video today, actually, pretty crazy of him working out. Man, that guy's a beast, man. So he was working out. He's in serious shape still. I think on the right football team, he could still be a contributor. The Baltimore Ravens came close to trading for him at the trade deadline. They're the favorites to get him right now at plus 300. The Dallas Cowboys are the second choice at plus 400. The Philadelphia Eagles, who also reportedly nearly traded for him at the trade deadline. There was a lot of talk about that, if you guys remember. The Eagles are plus 500. The Houston Texans are 7-1. I don't see the Texans. The Texans had a good ground game. Chargers, no. Chargers, we're talking about Saquon Barkley. I don't know. Maybe the Chargers actually with Harbaugh. I can see him liking Derrick Henry. The Titans 10-1. George, what do you think? It seems to me, it wouldn't shock me, bro, if Jerry Jones brought in Derrick Henry. What do you think about that?
Well, two things. A, I think Dallas will be there. I think they're going to be in the running for him. Do we believe Jerry Jones when he says he's going for it this offseason? And what exactly does that mean? By the way, does that mean you haven't been going for it every other offseason, Jerry? But he says he's going for it. All right. Pollard is a free agent. You know, they're going to need a running back. I think, once again, signing Henry, drafting a running back makes some sense. Oh, you re-sign Pollard, but I think that could be tough with the salary cap and the issues they're going to have here. I think Dallas is going to be there for him. They had trouble in short yardage
situations won't break
last
the bank
year. He would help. He won't.
Henry,
that's why you sign Henry, draft a running back. That's what I would like the Cowboys to do.
Like Henry at this stage of his career, just going to want the best sort of spot to win.
Gabe,
you know
I think the Chargers does make sense, though.
Maybe not Dallas.
I think it does make sense. Listen to this, because they ran Austin Eckler into the ground, and he's always bitching about money with them, and they've had a really interesting relationship.
I don't think Harbaugh likes Eckler.
I would tend to agree with you.
Let's put it this way, Kev. You'll notice he's praised a lot of other people on the team.
Yes.
He's never praised Eckler. And the other thing is, they're point blank, he didn't hide it, that basically he threw it out there. Could we get Saquon Barkley? Like he threw it like he asked the Chargers, can we pull this off? Like how, you know what I mean? And maybe the Giants would give up on him. Like, so I could see him also drafting Blake Corum, Cam, out of Michigan, his guy in the second round.
Yeah.
But I think Eckler's on the way out there. But Michigan, like Harbaugh, Derrick Henry, that's a tailor-made. Like he was talking about wanting to be physical and stuff, George. Wouldn't it shock? Wouldn't be shocking.
Well, that's the whole thing. And Herbert has been getting hurt, guys.
You're going to have Henry. You're still going to need another back. Right? You got to get somebody else in there, too.
You draft
they could draft the back, too. They could draft the back. I just think he's a good fit for the Chargers and their style.
I just don't think they're a Henry away. You know, like Dallas arguably is a Henry away. Right? Take some pressure off Dak. Chargers haven't made the playoffs in years.
Henry is perfect on a team that already has another good running back, too. Like a Pollard-Henry combo. You gave Henry the ball in the red zone, you just tell him, run people over, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What was Pollard
give him the ball on the 8-yard line.
Scoring.
Red zone.
Pollard was bad at scoring. Henry would take care of that.
Inside the 5. Yeah.
He'd be great at that. It makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys. That being said, we all know the Cowboys have other issues. You got to sign the CD Lamb. It's going to cost a small fortune. Micah Parsons, small fortune. They're not going to do both this offseason. What are we going to do? What are the Cowboys going to do with Dak? If they don't get that contract down, none of this matters. And they're not signing anybody if they can't get Dak's contract down for $59.5 million.
It's such a Baltimore thing to do, though, at plus 300. I can sort of see it.
Well, because Baltimore,
Miami
think about it, right?
Is 12-1.
Dobbins is always hurt. J.K. Dobbins, he's a great running back, but he's hurt all the time.
He's hurt.
Justice Hill's a scat back, and Gus Edwards is more just a battering ram. You can't use him all the time. So then Baltimore actually...
I can see the Bills, too, by the way. Any good team that doesn't have a battering ram, Henry would help.
The Bills are 40-1. They were also reportedly wanting to trade for him. They kicked the tires on it, too.
That's a crazy price, 40-1? It's like there's...
The Bills are 40-1.
Wow.
The problem with the Bills is they have no money.
Yeah.
They need guys to take cuts on the team as it is. Like they don't, contractually wise, I don't see it happening. I think that's why they're 40-1. Bengals are 18-1.
There's noise that Mixon may not be back.
Oh, God, imagine the Chiefs 28-1.
Oh, stop.
They got to get a receiver. They got to sign Chris Jones. They got to re-sign Ladarius Sneed. They're not signing him. They can't do it. They can't do all of it. That's impossible.
All right, so what's our consensus? I'm going to say I threw the Cowboys out there earlier, George. That was my look. I'm like, man, I can really see it with the Cowboys at plus 400.
Jerry Jones kind of player. Dallas.
I like the Chargers.
He's from the South, too. Yeah, I said the Chargers because of the Harbaugh connection. Just sort of Harbaugh wanting a battering ram running back, and I know that Eckler.
I think Henry wants to win, though. I think he wants to win.
Yeah.
Chargers against Mahomes, no. Listen, he might feel the same way about the Cowboys that they can't win either, so maybe that knocks them out. Maybe it's Baltimore because of what we're going on here.
That's what I'm saying, too. Like, I could see Henry. I don't know if he likes the Cowboys. Who was Henry a fan of when he was a kid?
America's team.
Like, he played at Alabama.
America's team. George, he never.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just hoping.
Everybody loves America's team, right, George? Everybody was.
I was going to say maybe he grew up with
Florida.
the triplets, but then I realized how old I am. The triplets were 30 years ago. And I don't think he was when he was 3 or 4 years old. However old he is, 2 or 3 years old back then. So probably not. Cowboys sucked back then.
I wouldn't dismiss the Chargers, though, because with Harbaugh and stuff, there's a winning attitude there. And Henry, like, I can tell you one thing.
You still got to get past Mahomes.
A hell of a lot better than Tennessee. Yeah, I get it. Everyone's got.
If
But
he
yeah,
wants to
other
win,
teams
I don't
got to
see
beat
it.
Mahomes too.
Unless they overpay.
Even teams out of the division. Bill's got to find a way to beat Mahomes. Baltimore's got to find a way to beat Mahomes. Everybody's got to find a way to beat Mahomes. Not just the Chargers.
The Chargers are more than him away. He has to know that. Yeah. And I love Harbaugh going there, but I don't know if I see that. I just don't see that. Or maybe
I'm trying to find him. Punch it up here.
Anywhere.
I've somehow discovered that it's funny. He played for Alabama.
Yes.
How old is he?
He said he's a hardcore Florida Gator fan.
That's craziness.
He goes, I grew up a Gator fan. I love the Gators. I'm from Florida. I've always watched them. I really loved them when Tim Tebow was there. I'm a big fan of Tim Tebow.
Huh.
Man, the Dolphins. I'm starting to think the Dolphins 12-1 from Florida. Go back home.
Would make sense.
They're good.
Would make sense.
Plus the Dolphins, they kind of are soft. They're going to be thinking, yeah, you'll toughen us up. Like, you know what I mean?
That's
We're
a good
soft
underdog
in the playoffs. We need a guy.
Like,
think about it. Think about it, too. Yeah, it's home state. Think about it, too, guys. They got pummeled in the cold weather. Like, you know what I mean? Henry's tough, at least. They could say, all right, listen, we're in the playoffs. At least we can hand the ball off to Henry. Like, he won't be a big wuss like everyone else. Dolphins at 12-1, man. I can see that.
Value. It's better value than the Cowboys.
I can see that.
Always makes
all
sense,
right, so there's odds for Kirk Cousins. What team is Kirk Cousins going to be on? Kirk Cousins, minus 225. Minnesota Vikings. I don't buy that. Atlanta Falcons, plus 400. Raiders, plus 800. Patriots, plus 1,200. Steelers, plus 1,200. Commanders, plus 1,800. Broncos, 25-1. What do you think, Kurt? Kirk Cousins.
Raiders. I think once again gets him out. I think he'd like to be indoors again. You got Devontae Adams, an ace wide receiver. I think the Raiders will pay him. I think the Raiders would pay him. They need a quarterback there. No matter what you think about Cousins, you just went over all the quarterbacks that are available, free agents. It's ugly. He's better. He's immensely better than all of those guys. Give me the Raiders. I like the Falcons too, though. If they'll pony up,
Atlanta's
they've been a little crazy with quarterbacks.
I like Atlanta too.
I think if you're Atlanta, I think you go with Justin Fields, and or maybe draft a quarterback again. Right, just go one last time. You go for
Michael
Penix.
I don't mind that.
Bo Nix.
Are they going to have to trade up? Will they have to trade up to get somebody? Hope somebody falls to you.
Somebody usually will fall. One quarterback.
There's a lot of quarterbacks, but there are going to be other teams. As Gabe just said, there's going to be other teams who want to trade up too, right? That might jump you to get a quarterback, so you don't get Bo Nix or McCarthy or whoever happens to be around there.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a couple of teams that surprise people and jump up.
Yep.
Right, like Jaden Daniel. Like the Bears are first, the Commanders are second, the Patriots are third, Arizona are fourth, Arizona are just kicking back and going to watch all these quarterbacks go and then just come in and say, all right, we're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. now.
Yep.
And I don't think this is crazy. No one's really talking about this, but I don't think it's crazy if Brock Bowers went ahead of Marvin Harrison. Like, I would seriously consider Brock Bowers as well if I was Arizona. He's that good, Brock Bowers. Now, everyone's, Brock Bowers could end up with the Chargers in the 5 spot. The Giants are intriguing. I don't think they'll go quarterback, the Giants. Titans are 7. The Falcons are 8, George. That's a manageable spot, man, for quarterbacks in the draft. And it's also manageable to trade up if you wanted to.
I think the Giants would love to trade up, assuming they do still believe in Daniel Jones. He's not going to get hurt every damn year now. You got to worry about Tennessee can take a quarterback too. I mean, it's not.
I think they stick with Will Levis.
If they truly believe in him, I think you're right, mind you. I do think they're going to stick with Levis, but I can see them letting it be out there. They're going to want teams to think, oh, no, we're thinking about a quarterback here, because they're going to want teams to move up into that slot and give them something decent to get ahead of Atlanta. So I can see that happening as well here. But with all the quarterbacks we just named, I think if Atlanta holds their cards, I don't know if they'll get the guy they want, but I think they'll get a guy.
You know what, though? Arizona are the key at 4 because the other teams aren't going to be interested in trading, right? The Commanders, they're going to, they can get Drake May, they can get Jaden Daniels, they can get J.J. McCray, they can do whatever they wanted, right, with the second pick. The Patriots are sort of right there as well, where there's the 3 you talk about, Drake May, Williams, and
they have to pick a quarterback.
Yeah,
the fans will revolt.
So, but then Arizona doesn't need a quarterback with the 4th pick. Right. They're the ones that if you're like, okay, we want to trade up. Chargers don't need a quarterback with the 5th pick. New York Giants with the 6th pick, they need the player. They got to figure something out there. Atlanta's got the 8th pick. The Bears have the 1st pick and the 9th pick. So the Bears are sitting pretty. The Jets have the 10th pick. And then you got Minnesota 11, Denver 12, Raiders 13. All of which are in the market for a quarterback.
Only quarterbacks. Right, only quarterbacks. And those would be the 3 teams that would jump ahead of people. Right? Because they would jump to 6 or 7.
I think J.J. McCarthy is the one. It is. It's interesting how it plays out. Because J.J. McCarthy, will he still be there 11? That was my take all along since day one. The J.J. McCarthy goes 11 to the Minnesota Vikings. But I think, like you said, I think the teams are going to go, man, if we want McCarthy, we're going to have to trade up to like 6 or 7 or something to do this.
There'll be somebody who believes him who's going to trade up and grab him.
He is a winner. We'll find out if he can continue to win at the next level. He won a high school state championship. He won the national championship in college with Michigan. Trevor Lawrence also did, right? Trevor Lawrence is another guy, sort of winning. It's pretty crazy. Like, J.J. McCarthy's record in his career is 68-2.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Could go down one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a freak of nature. He is Haley's Comet. He is the unicorn. He is the alien. He is whatever you want to call him. There's been nothing like him. And his play's been fantastic. And it's the reason why Pop looks so damn young now is because of the play of Victor Wembanyama. Fantastic performance by Wemby.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
This sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All these quarterbacks in the draft this year, they're so polarizing, right? J.J. McCarthy, the public criticizes him. They don't think he's athletic enough. They're kind of idiots, though. People are coming at Caleb Williams and his personality, and he won't be tough enough for Chicago. And Drake May, most people love Drake May, but there's some that think Drake May is like way overrated, and he's going to be the one to fall in the draft. I don't think he will. I think May will end up going in the top 5. Williams is going to go first overall. McCarthy's going to go higher than people thought he was. I had him going 11 or 12 to Minnesota or Denver. I'm not so sure he's going to last that long now. Suddenly, someone's going to have to trade up to get him, I think, probably. But Michael Penix is another interesting, polarizing player where some people like Penix, and you look at Penix's results, and they're there. He's got a lot of zip on his ball. Like, if you know what I mean? The dude throws a fastball. There's no disputing, like, that he's got an NFL arm. But a lot of people don't like left-handed quarterbacks, which is whatever. You can argue the debate that. They don't like left-handed quarterbacks, and they don't like his release. They don't like his lack of mobility. They don't like the fact that he's 25 years old, that he played 6 years of college football, that he's had multiple surgeries. I think that I think more people are going to hold it against him than want him. But I still think he'll end up going in the first round, Michael Penix. But he's the polarizing one. And then Bo Nix, too. Bo Nix didn't have a good senior week start. You know, he didn't look as good. Like, quite frankly, because they're all standing next to each other, right? So it's really a showcase. And he was behind everybody. But as the week picked up, he started to get going a little bit. So the combine will be really big for Bo Nix. And the combine starts next Monday, guys. That's some real D-Gen stuff. Now you can bet on combine stuff, like 40 times and bench presses and stuff.
Bet on anything.
The underwear Olympics.
Bo Nix didn't do himself any favors against Washington, too, Morency, when his stock was at the highest. So, there's questions. That's for sure.
Bo Nix is ready to play right away, though. That's the thing. It's just how much upside is there? He's not really going to get better. He is who he is.